Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name's Graham and I make music under the name Bedroom Antics. In this video, I want to talk about the music gear that I'm starting 2021 with. This video is inspired by a lot of creators talking about their music gear, what's in their camera bag, but specifically for me, it was Eric over at SpinDat where he talks about all the bikes that he's going to be riding over the next year, what people can expect from him. I think it's just a really good idea to show you guys what kind of content you're going to be getting from this channel right from the get-go. I'm going to start this video off by going through all the instruments that I use, so my guitars, that sort of thing. Then I'm going to jump on over to the desk where I'm going to talk about the studio monitors, the interface, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to wrap it up and talk about some of the plugins that I've been a huge fan of and I'm excited to keep using in 2021. My philosophy for what guitars I keep in my guitar rack and what I keep on hand. So for me, it all starts with having one acoustic and then kind of the big four, which would be a Tele, a Strat, a Les Paul style guitar, and a semi-hollow body style guitar. So with those 5 guitars, it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of guitar racks, just those 5. But I also allow myself to play around and have some fun with some of the other guitars that I pick up. They end up being a little bit more specialized because the more general tones are handled by those main 5 guitars. So let's just jump right in and check out these guitars. The first guitar that we're going to look at is the Simon & Patrick Songsmith Folk. So this is a smaller body acoustic guitar and it sounds incredible. It plays really well. It just looks amazing with this satin finish. And there's not enough good things I can say about it. Let's move on to the next one. And the second guitar that we're looking at is an Epiphone Dot. This I got at a local guitar shop up in Sudbury. They were a used guitar dealer. And this thing is incredible. It was completely rewired before I got it. And I don't know if you can notice this, but it's got P90s in a humbucking form factor in this. This thing rips and everyone that plays it thinks that it's a Gibson, not an Epiphone, because it plays that well. It looks this good. This guitar is sticking around for a very long time. Guitar number 3, we have a very classy Gretsch Electromatic in this gorgeous red color, bound body, neck, and headstock, these chunky inlays. It's got Filtertron style pickups in it. The only thing I'm kicking myself about picking up this guitar is they make it with a Bigsby trem instead of a stop tail bridge, and that would have just been incredible. Really would have set it apart from all my other guitars because I don't have many guitars with trem systems. So this Gretsch Electromatic sounds great, looks classy. And guitar number 4, this gorgeous Tele style guitar from Tokai. So this I picked up when I was living in Sudbury. There is a used guitar shop there, Cosmic Dave's, and this thing has been a ripper ever since. You know, the classic look, butterscotch blonde, maple neck, 4-way switch, and that adjusts the phase when both these pickups are activated. And this thing just packs the classic Teletone that is really good just to have in your back pocket if someone wants to do something a little bit more country or a little bit more, you know, math rock or hardcore. This thing gets it done. The next guitar we're looking at is this beautiful early 2000s Fender Stratocaster. It's a made in Mexico, so you know exactly what you're getting. It plays really well, sounds incredible. I haven't really done many mods to this. All I've done is cosmetic stuff with changing the knobs here and the pick guard and the back plate here to a perloid because the cream or white that was on it before was just looking a little tired and a little old. So I just want to update it and give it some flash. And I love the look of this thing. Every time I pick it up, it sounds amazing. The last guitar that we're looking at today is a Squire Active Contemporary in this beautiful surf green, black accents. It's got SQR active pickups in it, the paint matched headstock, this incredible gunmetal hardware. This thing pops. It looks incredible. and it sounds fantastic. And I don't know what they're doing over there at Squire, but they're making some absolutely killer guitars right now. This thing straight off the rack. I haven't gotten any fretwork done, haven't gotten anything like that done. And it's just so smooth. It's not trying to cut your hands up. It's not trying to do any of that. It sounded really good at the store, and I knew that I wouldn't have to do any sort of extra work, which is a possibility on some lower end guitars. And one last note, while I have the last electric guitar with me, all my guitars are strung with D'Addario NYXLs, and I use Dunlop picks. They're just what I know, what I like. Hey guys, this is video editor mode Graham here, realizing I didn't talk about my bass the exact way that I wanted to, and I completely forgot to talk about what MIDI controller I use. So let's talk about the bass real quick. This is the bass that I use. It is a J bass. I thought that I was always going to be a P bass guy, but I picked this up and I just fell in love. I love the way the neck feels. I love the tones that I can get out of this. And I mean, look at it. Beautiful butterscotch body, maple neck. It doesn't get classier than this. And it is a Squire vintage modified. It ticks all the boxes that you could want in a bass. It gets low. It's incredible. Let's put it away. Talk about the MIDI controller real quick. I have it on a slide out keyboard tray on my desk, and it is an M Audio Keystation 61 Mark III. Real basic. I don't need it to have, 20 pads and a whole bunch of other nonsense knobs going on. I just want a keyboard that was big enough so I could play more than 1 or 2 octaves to really kind of get my ideas down and start learning a bit more about the keyboard. But that's all you're going to hear from me. Let's jump back into the rest of the video. And now we're going to get a little weird with a banjo and a mandolin. While these don't fit the lo-fi aesthetic that is predominantly here on this channel, I really enjoy folk music, and I thought that it would be really fun to pick these instruments up just to learn them, have them in the back pocket, and it's a bit of like a party piece. And continuing that idea of learning the mandolin, the banjo as a party piece, I also have a set of harmonicas that I do not know how to play as well as I wish I did. That's gonna be one of my goals for 2021, is just start playing these things. And I've saved the best for last here in the instrument side of things, because this is my Roland MC101. I love this thing. It really helps me write song ideas, and I jam a lot with it. I have doodles that I write and put up here on this YouTube channel. And if that's not enough for you, Roland makes sound packs for this. And I do a whole series where I go through the sound packs, talk about what I like, what I dislike, and show you what the sound packs sound like just on their own and not in some perfectly manicured mix. So if you want to check that out, that is also going to be in the cards right there. So that's it for the instruments. We're going to move on. And now I want to talk about how I listen to, monitor, and mix all my tracks. You can see them right over my shoulder, but I have 2 big monitors here, and they are M Audio BX8As. They're massive. They sound incredible. And I know that my mixes have gotten better just by using them, because I can hear a lot more detail in my mixes and what the instruments are doing. That's really cool. The next thing I use is these. They are Bayer Dynamic 770 Pros, the 250 ohm version. And again, they just sound incredible. They sound amazing. Weird story about how I ended up with these though. I had a pair of AKG K72s, which are known to fail. They have a known issue of the right ear cup failing. So I went and bought a pair of Avantone studio headset monitors, and those were kind of based on their Mixcube platform. They had like a little switch in them so you could have a couple different profiles so that you could really test your mix even just on those headphones, which I thought was really cool. I thought that it was a really great idea, and I got them home, opened the box, started using them, and it was kind of like when you have a bad charging cable for your phone where it only works if it's in the exact right place. That's how it was on, these expensive headphones. So I reached out to Avantone, and they said to just return them. So I returned them and picked up these bad boys. I'm kind of glad that it happened, because these are comfortable. I wear them all day, every day. listen to everything, record with them, mix with them. And there, again, like a lot of stuff on this list, there's not enough good things that I can say about them. But now I want to talk about some of the mics that I have in my mic locker. The first one I'm going to talk about is a classic. It's a Shure SM57. You've heard this thing on every recording since forever. They're workhorses. Number two is this incredible ART D7, similar to a Shure SM7B or a Rode Procaster, I believe it is called. It has some switches on it. This thing is pretty cool. It has a mid bump and a low end roll off feature. This thing, I really only pull it out if I'm doing vocals and it's someone who's going to be really hitting those notes and using a lot of power, because I know that this thing can take it. The third mic that we're going to talk about is this bad boy. It is an Apex 210 ribbon mic. I use this for singer-songwriter stuff because I know that I can just plop it in front of a guitarist, have them sing. It sounds great on all acoustic instruments. Like I've recorded me playing banjo, mandolin, acoustic guitar, and this is usually the one that I go to first. Next, we've got these two guys. These are Rode M5s. They are a stereo matched pair of small diaphragm condensers. When I was recording drums at a friend's house, I would use these on the overheads, but more often than not, I will just throw them on the acoustic guitar. They're a kind of situational mic. They don't get pulled out as often, but when you need them, it's great to have these. So the last mic that I want to talk about really quick is the Apex 435. I can't show you right now because I'm using it to record the audio of this video, but it is a classic. Large diaphragm condenser is one of the first mics that I bought. I still use it. It still sounds really good, and I have no complaints with it. Definitely got my money's worth out of it. And to get those mics plugged into my computer, I use the Scarlett 18i20 with an ART patch bay, because on the Scarlett 18i20, there's 2 inputs on the front and 6 combo jacks on the back. So rather than having to reach behind my desk all the time and plug those things in, it's just nice to be able to plug everything in on the front side. And that monster of a screen that you see behind me is a Samsung 4K 32-inch screen. I love it because there's so much screen real estate that I'm not having to constantly shuffle what windows I have open. I can just keep everything that I need open at my fingertips. And the computer that I'm using is a Windows machine that I built myself with the help of my brother. It runs with an AMD processor, I think 16 gigs of RAM, a graphics card because I also like to game on it. So it kind of pulls double duty of being a music workstation, but also being able to game. So now that we talked about my desk, the mics, the instruments, all my listening gear, all that kind of stuff, what do I actually use to record my music? I use Reaper as my main DAW, and I've just built my workflow out so that I know exactly what I'm going to do every time I open it up to write a song. I know how to set up the sessions the way that I like. I don't see myself moving anytime soon. Also, it helps because it is $60. But if I'm not using Reaper, I will jump into FL Studio. I really enjoy just how quick and easy it is to throw an idea together, do the arrangement, and have basically a full song done in one writing session. So I want to talk about some of the plugins that I use. I live in an apartment building, so I don't have a full drum kit. So I use Easy Drummer 2 from TuneTrack. Another virtual instrument that I have is the Spitfire Audio Labs plugin. It's free, and the sounds that they give you are incredible. On all my bedroom Antics stuff, I'm using probably the soft piano. I just love the way it sounds. It fits exactly the sound that I go for, and it's one that I keep going back to. When I record my guitars, I send them through the Line 6 Helix plugin, and it just sounds incredible. It has access to so many different styles of amps, so many different styles of cabinets, effects pedals, and now some other plugins that I use. I've picked up some stuff from Waves, the Waves One Knob series. I also recently picked up the Waves Studio Classics collection, and that one's really awesome because you get SSL, Neve, and API channel strip emulations. It's really cool to be able to run what you've recorded, in your bedroom or living room through some of these classic boards and get those classic sounds that people know and love on your tracks. The Baby Audio Super VHS is probably one of the coolest plugins, especially for lo-fi stuff. It's a really good way to kind of top off your tracks, but I didn't stop there. I also picked up the rest of their lineup of plugins, and I'm really excited to dive in and play around with those a little bit more. And that wraps up the gear that I'm starting 2021 with. I'm excited to see what gear changes, what stays the same. Like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you had a favorite piece of gear, if you have some questions about some of the gear that I own, and subscribe so you don't miss anything on the Bedroom Antics YouTube channel.